Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and instantly command attention, while others seem to fade into the background unnoticed, unheard, almost invisible? Maybe you felt this yourself. You text someone and they don't reply. You speak, but people talk over you. It's as if you don't even exist. And the worst part, the more it happens, the harder it is to break free from the cycle. You start asking yourself, is it me? Is there something wrong with me? The truth is, being ignored isn't always personal. It's psychological. And once you understand why people overlook you, you can flip the script, change the way others see you, and make yourself impossible to ignore. But here's the thing, you might be making subtle mistakes that push people away without even realizing it. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to reverse it. The human brain is constantly filtering information. Imagine walking through a crowded city. There are hundreds of people, thousands of details, but your brain ignores most of it. This filtering system is called the reticular activating system, RAS, and it decides what deserves attention and what gets ignored. Now here's the crucial part. People's minds use the same system to filter other people. If you don't trigger their RAS, their brain categorizes you as background noise, like a stranger in a crowd. So how do you make sure you stand out? It starts with contrast. People notice what's different. If you blend in, act predictable, or carry yourself like you don't expect attention, their brain unconsciously dismisses you. Think about it. When someone walks with purpose, speaks with certainty, or carries an air of quiet confidence, they trigger our attention. But when someone is hesitant, unsure, or passive, our brain doesn't register them as important. So ask yourself, how do you present yourself? Are you engaging in ways that naturally demand attention, or are you fading into the background without realizing it? Another invisible force at play is something called the expectation effect. This happens when people unconsciously treat you the way they've seen others treat you. If you've been ignored before, others pick up on that pattern and reinforce it. It's a brutal cycle. The more you're overlooked, the easier it becomes for people to continue ignoring you. But the good news, you can break the pattern. One of the simplest but most effective ways is to change how you interact. If you always wait to be spoken to, start speaking first. If you've gotten used to people talking over you, raise your voice slightly and hold your ground. If you always make yourself too available, pull back just a little. When you shift even a few behaviors, people notice. And when they notice, the brain's filtering system resets. You're no longer background noise. Think about the last time someone walked into a room and without saying a word, people turned their heads. It's not just about looks or status, it's something deeper, presence. Presence isn't about being loud or demanding attention. It's about creating an energy that people feel. It's that unspoken magnetism that makes others lean in when you speak, notice when you enter, and remember you when you leave. So what creates presence? It's a combination of certainty, control, and mystery. Certainty, people are drawn to those who are sure of themselves. Not necessarily the loudest, but the ones who act like they belong wherever they are. If you believe your words matter, others will too. Control, your body language speaks before you do. The way you move, how you hold yourself, and even how fast you react tells people whether they should take you seriously. The secret, slow down. People who rush to respond seem reactive. People who pause before speaking radiate confidence. Mystery, what makes people interesting? Not revealing everything at once. If you give away too much too soon, there's nothing left to discover. Those who hold a little back, who speak just enough to spark curiosity, become impossible to ignore. The next time you enter a room, try this. Walk in as if you own the space, not as if you're waiting for permission to exist in it. You'll be shocked at how people start noticing you differently. Ever wonder why some people get attention effortlessly while others get overlooked, no matter how hard they try? One of the biggest reasons is predictability. When something is always available, it loses its value. Think about it. When was the last time you truly appreciated the air you breathe? Probably never. It's there all the time, so you take it for granted. But when something rare appears, people pay attention. Now apply this to human interaction. If you're always accessible, always quick to respond, always agreeable, people start to assume you'll always be there. And when people assume something is constant, they stop valuing it. So how do you break this cycle? By reintroducing scarcity and unpredictability. Don't always respond immediately. When someone texts you, take your time, not to play games but to signal that your attention is valuable. Be less predictable. If people always know how you'll react, you become background noise. Switch things up, change your tone, your routine, your approach. Make people wonder what you'll do next. Challenge people gently. If you agree with everything, you become forgettable. But when you respectfully push back, people see you as someone with depth. And here's the truth, people don't ignore you because they don't care. They ignore you because they expect you to always be there. Change that expectation and you change how they treat you. The moment you stop chasing attention and start becoming someone worth noticing, everything shifts. But how do you do that? The answer isn't about being louder or more aggressive. It's about mastering perception. Speak less but with more weight. Have you noticed that when someone rarely speaks, but when they do, it's meaningful, people listen? It's not just about what you say, it's about how much you make people wait for it. Silence before speaking makes people anticipate your words. Use contrast. People notice contrast. Light against dark, loud against quiet, movement against stillness. The same applies to personality. If you're usually serious, a sudden joke becomes 10 times funnier. If you're usually quiet, a strong statement becomes 10 times more powerful. Reframe rejection. One reason people fade into the background is fear of rejection. But here's the truth, rejection isn't about you, it's about them. Some people ignore others because they don't value themselves enough to see value in you. The more you internalize this, the less rejection will affect you, and the more naturally confident you'll become. Develop a signature trait. The most memorable people always have something that makes them stand out. A unique laugh, a distinct way of speaking, an unexpected hobby, or even a personal catchphrase. Find something that subtly separates you from the rest. Detach from needing attention. Ironically, the more you need to be noticed, the more people instinctively overlook you. The moment you stop caring whether or not people see you, they start paying attention. Why? Because now you're operating on your terms, and that's rare. And that's the final secret, people aren't drawn to those who seek attention. They're drawn to those who don't need it, yet naturally attract it. Thanks for watching.